morning. I think you're on mute.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Are you here for the hearing?
Yes.
Where are you on the docket?
I'm number 19, I believe.
Okay. We're number 5.
Oh, are you plaintiff, or not plaintiff, but defendant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Seminole Boosters. So where are you located at?
I live in Seattle, but the property is in. Sorry, I didn't.
Hello? Can you hear me or no? You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
reconvene the October 8, 2024 Special Magistrate Proceedings for the City of Daytona Beach. At the outset, I've reviewed and approved the minutes of our September 10, 2024 meeting. Do we have any announcements before I proceed with the hearing of the cases?
Yes, there's a couple compliance, starting on page 7. Case number 21, SMG 09-22-278, 2700 North Atlantic, as far as the balconies, compliance 10-1-24.
So am I calling that case or not?
No, no. And the page 8, case
And for
number.
clarification, you said
Yes.
we're not calling it, it's not because it's done, it's because that was the only thing on the agenda related to the balconies. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes, sir. Page 8, case number 28, SMG 04-24-72, 303 Seabreeze Boulevard, compliance 10-3-24. Thank you.
Okay, I have an announcement. With case number 22, put that case on our January 14, 2025 meeting for another progress report. Between now and then, he's got permit applications and going through the process. And on January 14, 2025, he's returning for a progress report and determination of a compliance date pursuant to stipulation of the parties. If you're a newcomer, do we have any newcomers, or everybody checked in with Our Lady here, our secretary?
I haven't checked.
What's your case number?
I did. Yeah, I did.
You all
You-
together? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, case number 1, Case number 1, Reginald E. and Gwendolyn W. Moore.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make sure your phones are on silent for me. Thank you.
I'm the contractor. It's Hadgen.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Randall. How are you?
And if we have any emergency personnel or anybody that needs to be somewhere else other than John Q. Citizen waiting for your hearing, let us know that in any event.
My
Yes, sir.
name is
So witness for-
Reginald E. Moore. My address is 209 North Keith Street.
Hold on.
Michael Eady.
I'm sorry, what is it? Okay. Raise your hand.
My name is Reginald, what?
No, go
Ready?
ahead.
My name is Reginald E. Moore. My address is 209 North Keith Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. The address of the property is 437, 439 North Caroline Street, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Moore, do you agree that this matter was in noncompliance as stated in the notice of noncompliance?
They gave me that. I don't think it's in noncompliance now. We were told.
Time out.
What?
Was it in noncompliance?
At the time she issued this?
At the time that you received the notice of violation?
Yes, that's correct.
And I find the respondent in noncompliance. Okay. Madam Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for Mr. Moore to come into compliance?
By next cutoff.
All right, Mr. Moore, what say you to that? And for your
What is
information...
next cutoff?
Pardon?
What is next
The
cutoff?
next cutoff is November 6, 2024. So can you be in compliance by November 6th? And if not, why not?
I think I'm in compliance now.
All right, well, does that mean you think you're pretty confident that you'll be in compliance by November 6th?
Certainly.
Okay. I mean, if you need additional time, now's the time to ask.
Well, give me additional time.
No, I'm not gonna give you anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, you
Okay, if you
asked.
don't need it, let's get the job done.
Yeah, well.
All right.
I mean,
Okay, then I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Please remember that when you got everything done, you have to call your inspector so she can do her final inspection, put a notice of compliance in your file, and then you're done. But don't forget to call her for the final inspection.
Well, okay. I'll check with I'll go down and check with license inspection to see if they did final inspection on the windows. We called it in, and it was my understanding, at least I thought, that they would inform you of that. And they didn't, so I'll check myself. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you. Case number 3, Venkata Charetti.
Step over here. Step over here.
So-
No, you're fine. Like that.
I want you to be here if you-
All right, so we don't have a respondent, so let's hear from our inspector.
Mark Jones, Code Compliance Supervisor. My credentials are on file. This is a complaint-driven case opened on September 4th for the drive-through being used for cars. This is not a permitted use at this location and was not approved during the site plan and permitting process. First notice was posted on September 4th, 2024, with compliance due September 9th, 2024. Owner installed bollards blocking the drive-through per the
Owner
city's...
installed what?
Bollards.
Those poles?
Yes, those poles.
Gotcha.
Per the city's requirement to receive approval. They had to close the drive-through there because it was not approved. The business now removes the bollards to open the drive-through in the afternoon, and the bollards are then replaced in the morning to be in compliance with the city's recommendations. There should be another photo that shows that it's open, and then it shows even cars going through the drive-through.
Okay,
Staff is recommending a finding of non-compliance, compliance with a will fine. They're in compliance in the morning, at night they're in non-compliance.
okay. Well, they're playing games with you, so as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned, they're just in non-compliance.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if technically that changes what you're looking for or not.
No, it doesn't. It's fine.
All right, yes, sir, you wanted to be heard?
That was pretty much everything I just want to say.
Okay, if you would please state your name, be sworn by our secretary.
All right. Daniel Garten, 938 Hibiscus Avenue.
Daniel Garden.
Garten, Garten.
Okay, raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
My father-in-law and I were interested in this property to open a business, and the main reason we didn't was because we could not open up a drive-through. Now we drive past there every night, there's a line. Drive-through is always open. I've called you guys, I've written you guys, and I just want to come here and make my statement.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, after having heard the testimony of our inspector, having viewed the photographs presented, having heard the testimony of the witness, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Do I impose a will fine at this point?
Well, I guess the real point of the inspector is that he wanted an immediate solution. So, I mean, you could do one or two things. The mere finding of noncompliance turns it into a will fine technically as a matter of law. But we can make it, we can find it in compliance, which is just word gymnastics, because in the morning they're in compliance. Or alternatively, you can just give them a couple of days to come into compliance. All they have to do is start doing what they were ordered to do as part of
Okay,
the
what is it you
agreement.
call these things? Ballards?
Bollards,
Bollards?
yes.
Okay, how do they remove them? They just pull
They
them
just
straight up
pull them
out of
out.
the ground?
Yes,
Okay, well, unless they've got a permanent fix for that, then as far as I'm concerned, they're gonna remain in non-compliance until they do.
okay. Our
I
concern
assume that's
was,
feasible.
yes, that is. Our
Okay.
concern was just that they quit using the drive-through as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
well, explain to the respondent that I'm not gonna be satisfied with his promises of future compliance. If you tell me that can be permanently fixed, then until it's permanently fixed, it's in non-compliance, and I'll fine them $1,000 per day until it is in compliance.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Case number 4, D&P Property Investments LP. Yes, sir, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
Tyler Donahue.
I'm sorry, can you,
Tyler Donahue.
do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
They existed.
Pardon?
They existed at the time. Yes.
All right, then I find the respondent in non-compliance. Mr. Inspector, what does the respondent have to do in order to come into compliance?
If I could just get some clarification of his relationship.
What's your affiliation with D&P Property Investments LLC?
I'm manager of the property there.
Okay,
That's what,
yes, sir. All right, Mr. Inspector, what does he have to do to come into compliance?
He has just recently removed the advertisements from Google. I have not seen in the last couple days any rental of any vehicles, so in essence, he's in compliance, but we did want a finding of non-compliance so that it would not happen in the future.
If I could say something about that. I
Just
rent
a
the
second,
property.
Just a second. Okay, so you're telling me that it would appear he's in compliance now?
Correct.
All right, yes, sir.
I rent the property to someone who uses that property, and I informed him not to do that. So it's not actually me. It's
So
somebody
you're the
that
owner
we
of the
rent.
property,
I own the property. We rent it to.
which means it's your headache.
We rent it to a company. They were doing that. We informed them of the magistrate's request not to have that on the property, and they've complied to me, meaning that they've complied to him.
Well, please understand, we don't get to mess with your tenant. We mess with you.
Yeah, we know that.
Understood.
That's
Okay,
why I've
fair enough.
informed him, but I can't stop him from riding one to work, which I've told him if he's using it to ride to work, as he was informed to me, that's okay, but not to be using them for rental purposes.
Okay. Based upon the testimony of our inspector, the photographs presented, and I'm sorry, your name again?
Tyler Donahue.
Donnie?
Donahue.
Donahue. And Mr. Donahue's testimony, I find the respondent in non-compliance. I further find that the respondent is now in compliance. Now, that having been said, for every future violation, the respondent will be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a will fine up to $5,000 per occurrence. So please impress upon your tenant, or whoever he is, that it's going to get expensive.
I can express that, but if he does it, I would have to physically remove him, or
Yep.
have you remove him.
No?
I can't remove him without being ordered to. In other words, I
No,
can.
you can remove
I can
him for
evict him.
violation of a lease because he's
Yes,
subjecting
I
you
can evict him,
to
but if he
administrative fines.
has a right to stay until he's proven he has to leave. I mean, I can evict him, but has to go through the process, obviously.
Okay, well, right now, he has caused you
Yes,
to
that's why I said
incur
I can evict him, but it can
statutory
take time.
violation here. And
I'm saying I tried to evict a person before, and it took me 24 months to get him out in court, so.
Okay, and
It's
the
not
point
something
is,
sometimes
when we
easy.
run into these circumstances, when the owner is pursuing the removal of the tenant, then we take that into
Okay,
consideration.
thank you.
If the owner's sitting on his hands and going, what am I to do? We find the bejeebies out of it.
I'm just saying, it took me a year, 2 years to get the last tenant out, so.
I understand, and we're aware of that. We deal with it, and we take that into consideration. All we ask for is a good faith effort on your part to cure it, and if you got an obstinate tenant, then you do what you have to do, and then if need be, you come down here and you satisfy us that you're doing everything you can.
All right, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Case number 5, Seminole Boosters Incorporated. I have this as a Zoom matter.
Yes. I want to put everybody up there. If you could tell them if it's not your case, can you turn their camera off?
Okay.
Otherwise, if you're not opposed to the Brady Bunch, just letting you know.
So you just want me to announce that to them?
Yes.
Okay, not a problem. All right, for all you folks that are attending by Zoom, you need to unmute us. Is he muted?
You're not.
Number 1 and number 3 are muted, I think.
It's Mr. Iverson.
All right, we're down to just one of them. How do we get the word to this gentleman right here?
They can see you point to your ear.
Pardon?
Said they can see you point to your ear. Tell them, unmute.
Talking to you. All right, is one of you here for Seminole Boosters?
I am.
I am.
2 of you are here for Seminole Boosters? If you would, please state your names and be sworn.
I am John Lohr of the law firm Ackerman LLP. I am also here with the Colson Hosford, who is the Vice President of Development and Real Estate for the Seminole Boosters. I will be speaking on
Counselor, we don't need you to be sworn, but if your client is going to be testifying, he'll need to be put under oath.
I will be speaking on behalf of my client
Fair
and can be
enough.
put under oath.
All right. Okay, we're here on the Seminole Boosters. This is a request to impose irreparable and irreversible fine for plumbing system damage, raw sewage spillage, determine compliance or non-compliance for remaining violations. Okay, well, that's a mouthful. That's what I get for trying to expedite these things. All right, Mr. Inspector, if you would please, what are we dealing with here?
Okay, this is a complaint-driven case. I'm sorry. John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. Qualifications are on file. This is a complaint-driven case by the police. They were cited for outside storage, damaged fencing, exterior staining, broken windows, missing damaged screens, peeling paint, inoperable plumbing system with raw sewage spillage. I have had communications from this property owner. They just received writ of possession of the property. So on the majority of the violations, we're willing to amend to the next cutoff. However, the issue of the raw sewage needs to be taken care of immediately.
So what do we have? Do we have active raw sewage being spilled out?
There's a photo. They're on the other.
Yes, to answer your question.
Okay, that's a bad thing. All right. Do you have any more to say before I ask Counselor what his explanation is?
We're asking, no, I'd like to hear what the
How
council
long
has
has
to
it
say.
been like that since the notification?
It has been like this since the notification, which was, excuse me, August 8th, 2024.
So we've had raw sewage spilling out since August 8th of 2024?
That's correct.
Is it still going on?
As of yesterday, yes.
Okay, Counselor, that sounds pretty ugly. What you got to say?
Good. So, thank you first for letting us appear via Zoom. I appreciate it, and I'm not going to bury the lead here. We understand the problem, and we want to get it corrected. We're going to get it corrected as quickly as possible. The issue is that it is currently not a safe situation at the property. So, you know, I guess to that end, I think it probably would be good to explain to you how it is that we got here and what it is that we're doing. So I represent the Seminole Boosters. As I've said, this is a direct support organization that's statutorily authorized. It's organized, and I'm going to read this from the statute. It's 1,428. It's organized and operated exclusively to receive, hold, invest, and administer property and to make expenditures to or for the benefit of a state university. So this is not a situation where we are trying to make money to pay off investors. This is a situation where we're working with public funds. And what happened here is that this property was donated to the Seminole Boosters back in August of 2023. And this property had a tenant, has an upstairs and a downstairs. We inherited a tenant that had a lease downstairs. Now, Seminole Boosters doesn't hold property. They take the property and try to market it and then sell it, and then they give the money over to the university. It's public funds. Now, the tenant was supposed to put in an offer. The tenant did end up putting in the offer, but when we looked into the offer, there was no real financing there. So shortly after that, we learned that the tenant had broken into the upstairs unit and had let persons into the unit that were not authorized to be there. We terminated the lease effective April 30th, 2024 with the tenant. She refused to vacate. At that time, we also learned that the persons that had been allowed to access the property were involved in drug-related activities, or at least we were told that. We contacted law enforcement to try to get them out of there. We were told by law enforcement that we had to go through the eviction process since one of the persons was previously a tenant. We filed evictions for unlawful detainer in July of 2024. We received communications from Mr. Stinson originally around July 2022 or July 22nd, 2024. My colleague reached out to Mr. Stinson. He spoke with him. He let him know that we had a dangerous situation at the property and we were moving through the legal process. I would point out that there was no reference to raw sewage in the original notice that we received. It was just, there are plumbing issues, you need to come out and pick up the plumbing issues. And that was on July, around July 20th. Okay, so fast forward, we're moving through the eviction proceedings. We've learned that unfortunately, the tenant switched units with the dangerous person. So now we've got a situation where we have to reserve people. This is really an unorthodox filing where you're evicting a tenant from a different unit than they're allowed to be in, along with unidentified, dangerous persons. So it ended up being an action for eviction and unlawful detainer. And I can't stress enough, this is a dangerous situation at the property. We are trying to get the people out of here. We were told on Sunday that there was an altercation at the property. Our realtor refuses to go out there. One of the persons was arrested and charged with drug trafficking. Another was arrested and charged with possession and grand theft. These are not good people, and they need to be dealt with by law enforcement. Now, we received this notice for a hearing on September 24th. And from my perspective, and there may be a different notice out there that I'm not aware of, but this was the first time that I became aware of, and this is also the first time that my client believes he became aware of any notation regarding raw sewage. And when I saw that, the first thing I did was, we actually had an eviction proceeding scheduled for today, but the first thing I did was file an emergency motion with the court and said, hey, court, we've got a dangerous situation at the property and we have raw sewage and we need to get possession immediately. Now, the very next day was Hurricane Helene. The court scheduled a hearing the following Monday. We obtained a final judgment on October 1st. As soon as we got the final judgment, we mailed in the writ of possession to the clerk. She issued the writ of possession on October 4th. It is, from my understanding, gone over to the sheriff to execute. I doubt it's going to be executed due to the hurricane, but I think it should be executed this week or early next week. With respect to the raw sewage, we agree it's a huge problem. But from our perspective, it's not anything that we became aware of until we got this notice of hearing. And as soon as we received it, we moved to try to expedite things with the court. Like I said, we filed an emergency motion for hearing. we agree it needs to be taken care of as soon as possible, but we need to get possession of the premises and we need to get the dangerous persons out of there. So we do ask that you guys give us a little bit more time, and you know, you have our word that we will, as soon as we get possession, take care of that issue, and we are working to get possession as soon as possible. Like I said, the writ of possession should be with the sheriff. You know, but again, with respect to the fines, we just ask that you give us a little bit more time, you know, to the extent that, you know, if there was a fine in this situation, it wouldn't hurry things up or speed things up. All it would do would
Second,
be,
so you're telling me you have your writ of possession,
that's right.
it's been delivered to the sheriff,
Yes,
but for intervening weather events, you're waiting on the sheriff.
yes.
All right, hang on a second. All right, Counselor, is there any more that could be
No, it
expected?
appears that it's been taken care of, he just doesn't have his copy yet.
I'm sorry, what?
As far as the writ of possession, it appears it's been signed.
Right.
Okay, I don't think he realized that.
No, I thought I understood him to say the writ of possession had been issued. The issued writ of possession has been delivered to the sheriff.
Okay, so.
That is my understanding.
Okay,
All right, so is there
And-
anything more than we can expect of him right now?
and I agree. I did want to point out the inspectors indicated it did show raw sewage initially on and he provided a copy of that to the magistrate as well on it's an issue or notice of violation. But in any sense, we understand the circumstances you're describing.
Okay, so when the sheriff executes the writ of possession, then you are in possession and control of the property?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, hang on one second. Mr. Inspector, how much time, I don't even want to say should reasonably be required. On an expedited basis, how much time would you expect him to take to correct the raw sewage situation?
72 hours, 3 days.
3 days. All right, you hear that?
Is that 3 days from execution of the writ and possession and
3
control?
days from you being put in possession of the property.
I think that's
assume I mean, I don't
Correct.
know how a writ of possession works. Does the sheriff clear him out and then call the property owner and say, come on down?
So what would happen, sir, is that the sheriff would post, and as soon as the sheriff posts the writ of possession, the person would have 24 hours to vacate. And when they vacate, then the sheriff would reach out to us and and we would contact the locksmith. We'd have the locksmith there, and then the sheriff would put us in possession of the property. So it's service of the writ, 24 hours, placing us in possession.
All right, Counselor, pick an operative point in time in which you want me to tell him he's got 72 hours to get it done. When would that be? It sounds like it would be 72 hours following the 24 hours that the sheriff has to wait or has to allow the tenant to remove himself.
Mr. Kelly, I would agree with that perspective, that after he.
So we're giving him
has
4
to come
days
forward.
from the date of the service of the writ of possession.
Yeah, and all he would need is to have a plumber on hand when it's actually something that looks like it's. being
All right, it
used.
sounds like we're working our way to me telling you you've got 4 days after the service of the writ of possession to take care of the raw sewage. Did you want to be heard any further on that?
No, I do not. I think that's plenty of time, and I appreciate the board.
All right, then with regard to the raw sewage, I'm going to order that within 4 days of the writ of possession being posted on the property, I assume that's the operative event that we're talking about, the respondent will be in compliance with regard to the raw sewage or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of any and all fines that may be available to the city under these circumstances. Now, I also have determined compliance or non-compliance for remaining violations. Are you familiar with these remaining violations?
We are going to deal with the remaining violations. Sir, I would just point out that with respect to the violation for having an unlicensed rental unit, we are not renting the property
All right,
and have not.
We'll deal with the minutia later. All I want to know is right now, do you agree these other violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, with the exception of the unlicensed rental property.
Understood. All right, with regard to what I will call the remaining violations, I find the respondent in non-compliance. How much time should reasonably be required after, of course, the respondent is in possession of the property to come into compliance?
by the next cutoff.
All right, the city seems to think that you ought to be in compliance with the remaining violations by November 6th. What say you to that?
I say we will make all due haste.
Very good. Then with regard to what I'm going to label the remaining violations, the respondent will be in compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. All right, Counselor, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, case number 6, Daytona 418 Management and Investment, LLC.
My name is Gao. I'm the new owner for the 101 Indigo Drive.
Sorry, sir.
Hang on, slow down.
Say your name again.
YUNQRNG. Last name GAO.
G.
GAO.
A-O?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your right hand.
Yes.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
What is your affiliation with Daytona 418 Management and Investment, LLC?
Yeah, that's our, we used to have this property and 418 South Ridgewood Avenue. And we bought a
Okay,
new property.
Slow down.
You said
Yeah.
new owner.
The respondent here is Daytona 418 Management and Investment, LLC. That is a limited liability company.
Right.
Are you affiliated with that company?
I'm the owner.
You're the owner of that that company?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, then let me go back. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Okay, I just got the notice because the violation notice they sent it to the former owner. So last week I just got it from the former owner.
Not a problem. Do you agree
Yeah.
these violations existed or occurred?
Yes.
Then I find the respondent in noncompliance. I'm not trying to be rude,
Yeah.
just trying to get to the point here. Mr. Inspector, and so am I to understand that you just recently acquired this property?
Yeah, we just bought it in the beginning of the year, but the violation notice they sent it to the wrong place. They didn't send it to 101 Indigo. They sent it to the former, New York. Is a former owner. So the former owner never tell us.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
what's the address we should be using to communicate with you?
Yeah, I already tell them. It's
Okay,
one.
so we have it now.
Yeah. You have now. Yes.
You have it? Yes. Okay. All right, let's go back to our inspector. All right, I found the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for Mr. Gao to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
The city seems to think you ought to be able to take care of these matters by November 6th. What say you to that?
November 6th. So I already did a lot of things. So today is October.
It is October and this week's shot. So you have it done by November 6th or not?
I think I need maybe a little bit more. And
Well, now's the time to ask because we're all going to go get ready for a hurricane.
yeah.
All right? Mr. Inspector, does giving in to December cause you any heartburn?
No, sir.
All right, how about December 4th?
Okay, thank you very much.
Very good. All right, I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by December 4, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Please don't forget to call your inspector for a final inspection when all the work is done.
Sure.
If you don't do that, then you'll be in non-compliance and you'll get dragged back in here.
Understand.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 7, Sunshine Ventures and Management, LLC.
State your name.
Kobe Bezalel.
Kobe.
Bezalel.
Spell your last name.
Betzalel.
C-O, and what's your first name?
Kobe. Koby.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. What is your affiliation with Sunshine Ventures and Management LLC?
I'm the owner.
Very good. All right. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Right now, there's no graffiti. It's clear of graffiti. I passed by there today. I have pictures to show. It's clear of graffiti.
Okay, so what are you telling me? You already took care of it?
We did not see any graffiti. There's no graffiti on the building. Yeah, okay. I guess that's
Okay.
inside.
What am I looking at? Graffiti.
That's a specific spot that it's actually not visible from anywhere outside. I can show you how it looks from outside.
Says
But-
defacement of property, graffiti on building. Is that the violation?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is the defacement of property and the graffiti on building that we're talking about?
The defacement is the graffiti. The graffiti is actually on the west side of the building, facing to the west. However, this is a complaint-driven case, so clearly a citizen who's able to view it. But that is the graffiti on the west side.
Okay.
It's that gray,
What is the graffiti? Am I looking at the west side?
the gray portion, Mr. Vicaldi. That's gray? That's not gray? Okay, well, they told me it's blue.
Yeah, what is that?
Can you make that?
I mean, is it paint or?
Yes, someone spray painted it.
Okay. Oh, okay, I can see it now. All right.
Bubble letters.
Okay.
Can I show you a picture? We sent in someone to actually inspect the property from outside, from all directions. We did not see anything. I guess nobody went inside to actually check that it's a specific corner hidden inside the building. But
Well, it's not a specific corner hidden inside the building.
okay.
I assume that's outside, is it not?
No,
That's correct. It is
but
outside.
That's on the inside of the property where it's all fenced in and
So
it's
you don't
not
think we can
visible
see
from outside.
graffiti through
No,
fencing?
Yes, but it's not visible from outside. Someone
Well,
obviously.
whoever stood at that fence could see it.
Yes, but there's a specific, this spot when you're standing there, it's not accessible for anyone. It's just only someone that actually want to go there and, I guess, to check it out. But again, we will take care of it. That's not the issue.
Mr. Vicaldi, if I can just point out to the magistrate, this is a property that you've dealt with before, that had substantial violations, and
Which property is this?
this is at the
Don't
corner.
tell me this is the corner of University and A1A.
You said it.
I actually have some good news to provide to Your
What,
Honor.
Somebody's gonna drop a bomb on the place?
No, on better.
Better than that?
Yeah, we actually submitted we started the process to submit the plans. All the architectural plans are done.
Is it Mr. Betzalel? Is
That's
that
right.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, sir.
With a name like Vukelja, I like to make sure I get people's last names correct.
Yeah.
I can think of at least a half a dozen people that have stood right where you've stood and told me the exact same thing.
I can
tell you about the
I can
pool.
show you the plans and everything
and
and
the cart that was put over the pool. I can tell you about the wood that was put over the tarp that was put over the pool. I can tell you about the sidewalk that was put over the wood that was put over the tarp that was put over the pool. And I could probably identify every one of your neighbors by first, last names, and their dogs' names, because now I'm hoping you're the rainbow I've been waiting to see when it comes to this property.
I hope so.
Because it is a well-known eyesore and has been for a long time. And like I said, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I have every confidence you'll follow through on what you're telling me. All I'm letting you know here is, and this you do need to be aware of, this is a property this city is familiar with. And so when you sit there and tell me, if you go 5 miles down the road and you take a left turn and then you look at this property from Bunnell, you won't be able to see the graffiti. I ain't gonna wanna hear it. So all that having been said, I wish you the best of luck. I'm giving you until, have I already found the respondent in noncompliance? I find the respondent in noncompliance, order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I wish you all the luck in the world, and
Thank
if you
you.
actually show up with plans that you actually start implementing, you will find we will be happy to work with you. If on the
And
other hand,
that's what we are. We
Very
are trying to work with you.
I'm just
And
alerting
we
you
are
to the fact that
working
if you're
to
standing
get
in
it
the
done.
shoes of your half a dozen predecessors, might be another story.
I know. It wasn't easy to get where we are right now, but we are in the process and we will do what is needed.
I wish you luck.
Thank you,
And
sir.
like I said, as long as we see a good faith effort to do something with this property, we'll assist to the extent we can.
All right.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 9, this is a Zoom matter.
Yes.
Park Drive Land Trust dated November 3, 2023, Solus Management and Consulting LLC as trustee. Do we have a respondent?
Yes.
Is it Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, if you would please be sworn by our secretary.
State your full name, please.
Willie Jackson?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, what's your affiliation with this entity?
I'm one of the managers.
All right. Do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
I believe so.
All right, I find the respondent in non-compliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff.
The city seems to think you ought to be able to take care of this by November 6th. What say you to that?
Yes, that should be fine. That debris that's in front of it, I sent out a lawn man, and because of the weather that was coming, he said he wasn't able to do it. But that debris that they're showing in that photo there does not exist currently.
All right, very good. Well, we'll give you till November 6th. So I'm going to go ahead and order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. If you're handling all this by telephone, please remember to contact our inspector and ask him to do his final inspection. Otherwise, it'll remain an open file, and as far as we're concerned, you'll be in non-compliance, and that leads to all sorts of bad things. So don't forget to call your inspector when the work's done.
Okay, I understand.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Case number 11, Daytona Blue Tide Group LP. Good morning. If you folks would please state your names and be sworn. You can speak from there if you want. Yes, sir.
It's Fabrizio Lucchesa.
Pardon?
Fabrizio Lucchesa.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Lucchesa, what is your affiliation with Daytona Blue Tide Group LP?
I'm an officer for the company.
Very good. Do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
I do.
I find the respondent in non-compliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff.
Next cutoff, Mr. Lucchesa, is November 6, 2024. What say you to that?
Well, as far as the debris and the grass and so on, I think we can get all that stuff done by that date. But the other part is we have, there's equipment on site, which is the contractor. In fact, the contractor happens to be Mr. Dan Williams. And we're in the process of attempting to get this permit reactivated so that we can continue work on the site. So for that component, we're asking 90 days to, if we don't get a permit, to remove all the equipment off the site. But as far as the other items, the debris and the cleanup and the overgrown lawns, we'll take care of that by the next cutoff. And Mr. Williams is here if you want to hear from him as well.
So you're going to clean up the lot.
Yes, sir.
You want to be able to keep the materials there.
Yes.
And it's, if you had a permit, you'd be allowed to do that.
Yes,
Where
sir.
do you stand as far as your permit application is
We
concerned?
hope to have it within 30 days.
Pardon?
We hope to have it within 30 days.
Have you already applied?
No, it's being applied for.
Okay.
We
Is
have
this the
permit
kind of
that-
permit that you think you should be granted relatively easily?
You know, Matt, maybe I need a little bit longer than that then.
Well, no, let's
Yeah.
not start talking
Hey,
longer.
we
I'm
had
trying
a-
to understand your
Yeah.
assumption that you're going to get it at all.
Well, we'll apply for it. I'm not sure about having it in place by then.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so once you get your permit, what? This property is going to be improved, or this is a staging area where equipment and materials are being kept?
No, the permit's to do work on the site.
On
the
site.
On the seawall and so on, yeah.
On the seawall?
Yeah, some work, the permit, there was a permit that had expired, that's why the equipment is there. We did some dredging and some additional work on the site. Demolition work we did as well, so we'll be pulling the
East
permit.
International Speedway.
It's right after you go over the bridge. It's on the left-hand side, the ISB bridge. As you go down, you look over to the left, it's right there.
Isn't that the future marina?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, my God, I hope I live long enough to see it.
Me too.
Keep me from driving all the way down to the Ponce Inlet all the time. Anyway. Okay, let me back up. Yes, now I'm familiar with the site. Okay, so, Mr. Inspector, if you know, he's thrown into the works here the notion of a permit. So give me a milestone within the relatively foreseeable future that I can hold him to as far as a permit application is concerned. What,
From
he
what
tells
he-
me he's going to be making application.
From what he discussed with me earlier this morning, he said their plan was to try to get the permits reissued.
Yeah.
If they can't get them reissued, they were going to start to remove all the equipment off the lot, and that would take them like up to 90 days.
Why in the world would you let that happen?
We don't want that to happen. We want it-
Wouldn't that kind of
Yeah, it was active, well,
pretty
that's what we're
much
talking
stop
about.
the whole project?
Well, it's the cost also of mobilization and demobilization. So, like the inspector just mentioned, we did have a permit that expired because we had.
You know, I'll work with you, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to get some stuff done here.
I understand that.
I don't hand out time, just for giggles.
I understand.
So you tell me what you can show me. Let's start with, by the November 12th meeting, I'm just talking out loud here. So
Yes.
by November 12th, what will you have in hand that you can show me that says, here you go, Mr. Magistrate, I'm doing what I told you to do. We're doing everything we can to get this permit issued.
Yeah, well, as far as like the cleanup will be done by then, but.
I understand that.
We'll have an application in for the permit. And I don't know what the turnaround time is going to be to get it issued.
When do you anticipate submitting this permit application?
Oh, within the next week or two.
I mean, I don't know how complicated a process it is. The fact that
I don't think that simplifies things.
I doubt it. Okay, assuming he has a permit application in within the next 30 days, and I suspect I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask anyway. Can anybody guesstimate when, in the ordinary course of affairs, he could expect to receive a permit?
I'm not sure, but I
I'm
mean,
at least assuming the city's familiar with the property.
right, because actually the request to open up a case came from the permit office because all the permits had expired. Okay, so if they was just to go down to the permit office,
The city told them their permits were expiring?
the city contacted code enforcement and told us to open up a case to get this site cleared because all of the permits that were open were now closed or expired because the work had
Sounds like
stopped.
somebody dropped the ball big time.
There's more story to it behind it. So there's a modification for the marina that's happening, but it's got to go to the state level.
Okay,
It's in the
never
water.
mind, never mind. I regret asking. Okay, so,
I mean, if he just goes down to the permit office and, asks them to, we would like to continue working on this project, I'm quite sure they'll be able to give him some information of what he needs to do to get the permits reissued.
okay, well, I can't just ignore the city's request for the relief that they've asked for. So, here's what I'll do. By November 6th of 2024, you're going to clean the place up.
Yes.
That'll take care of a lot of this stuff. And at the November 12, 2024 meeting, I'm going to want a progress report. So I'll know what the status of the permit application is. Maybe you'll have a permit in hand by that time, and maybe compliance will then be moot. I don't know. But in either event, by November 6th, you clean the place up, at the November 12th meeting, somebody reports back the status of the permit application. If there's no permit application, then you get hammered. Okay? If there is a permit application, hopefully you can give me some more info. Well, hopefully we'll know more about it, and maybe we can even start talking about when things can be expected to be done.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Did I say that clearly enough for you?
November 6th cleanup.
Pardon?
November 6th cleanup, and by the November 12th, progress on
All right, well,
permit.
let me back up and do my job. By November 6th, the respondent is expected to come into compliance in all matters other than the permit, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. With regard to the permit issues, we're going to schedule those matters for further consideration at the November 12th, 2024 meeting, at which point in time the respondent will be providing a progress report regarding his permit efforts. Okay?
Okay, great.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, case number 19.
Wait, 14.
Case number 14. Case number 14. Michael D. Eady and Julie A. Herbart Eady. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Michael Eady.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
All right, Inspector Bostwick. Respondent was first notified back on February 7th. Since last August hearing, there's been progress in communication. Pretty much the construction of the new wall and fence has been completed. He just needs to get it finalized. If you keep going with the pictures, you'll see. Keep going. Yeah, the fence is up. He called for a final, I believe, a couple weeks ago, and he wasn't able to meet with the building inspector. So all he needs to do is just get a certain out inspection. If he passes the inspection, the case is closed and he's good to go.
Okay, sounds like we want to amend our current order of noncompliance to give until November 6th to get that done?
That'll be correct, sir.
What say you to that?
Good.
Okay. All right, then I will amend our current amended order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until November 6, 2024 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go to case 19. And I believe we have somebody on Zoom for this one.
Yes, that's me, Scott Ibsen. I'm here.
Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Raise your right hand.
My name is Scott Ibsen.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector. What say, Mr. Stenson?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. Qualifications are on file. This respondent was first notified on 13 May 2024. The permits that are required are still awaiting approval. They were submitted May 22nd, 2004. They have yet to be approved or issued, and the city is asking for the imposition of a fine of $200 per day to be capped at $15,000.
Okay, let's back up. Say the violation again for me.
Lack of permits, and he needed a permit for 301 for his renovations in his units.
Okay, what say the respondent?
I'm working on it. When the work started, I didn't know permits were required for what I was doing. Right now, I do have a permit in the process. It's pending evaluation.
And is the exterior wall staining been taken care of?
The property's managed by Ocean's Luxury. They regularly maintain the property. I have spoken to my property manager. He is having someone coming out hopefully on either Sunday or Monday.
What were the renovations that called for the permit to begin with?
There are 2 units on the northern portion of the building, the first floor, that were renovated, and all the debris was all outside. So there was a full renovation of those 2 units, unpermitted.
You didn't think you needed a permit to renovate a commercial structure?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you please repeat that?
You didn't think you needed a permit to renovate a commercial structure?
It's a residential structure, and it was mainly just paint, molding, trim, doors, basic update when a tenant moved out.
What's the relief the city's looking for?
The city is asking for the imposition of a fine of $100. I misspoke earlier. It's $100 per day to be kept at 15.
Where do you stand on the permit at present? Can you hear me? Mr. Ibsen,
I'm sorry, you're breaking up pretty bad. Can you please repeat that?
where do you stand on the permit at present?
I have the permit turned in right now. It is pending evaluation. So I can, as soon as that gets approved, I will have the inspector there to evaluate the property.
All right, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow you until November 6, 2024 to come into compliance. That means
Okay.
getting your permit and taking care of this exterior wall staining. The city wants me to fine you now. If you're not in compliance by November 6th, I'm pretty certain you're going to be facing a fine.
Understood.
So please get it done.
I will.
Good luck to you. Case number 20. Did I say that all right for you?
Yes.
Feel free to yell at me to
No,
sound
you're
like
good.
a special magistrate a little more often. Case number 20. How are you today?
Wonderful. For the
Counselor, please state your name for the record.
For the record, Jessica Gow, Cobb Cole Law Firm, 1 Daytona Boulevard in Daytona Beach, Florida.
All right, continued from July hearing, progress report and determine a compliance date. I'm sorry, and the respondent is Vishnu Limited and MAA Shantoshi. And the property is 1000 North Atlantic Avenue. Case number 20. All right, so who wants to give me a progress report?
You can do it, that's fine. Since the last hearing, they've continued to work under permit. They've established the final timetable for the construction, and just they continue to move forward. We'd like to have them come back in January for another progress report, and hopefully then to establish compliance.
Did I hear you say final timetable for construction?
Yes,
Does that mean a finishing date?
yes.
When's that?
July 2025.
What year?
2025.
Really?
Fingers crossed.
It's moving much faster now.
Yes.
So we should actually see it accelerating.
So we are in the plumbing phase finally. So we are.
Did y'all add another floor to that building?
They
add
they
another
did,
floor?
yes.
The
They were
5th floor.
Able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Must have been a pretty stout structure.
The bones were good, right? That's the
Okay.
That's all that was left.
yeah.
And what did you say, July of 2025?
Is when construction will be complete and they'll be open. Yep.
Do you have a, what do they call it, a brand?
We do. We have a flag.
Good for you.
Town Place Suites.
Good for you. Well, there's some improvements I may live long enough to see after all. And of course, you're right across the street from Mr. Who's the poor guy I tortured earlier? Mr. Betzalel. In any event, I'm sorry, I digress. What are we doing right now? So you've given me a progress report and you want them back, what'd you say, in January?
January, yeah.
Okay, so, great to hear about the progress. Good to see we've got a termination date. And I will order this matter be returned to the special magistrate at the January 14, 2025 meeting for another progress report. And we may even be nearing the establishment of a compliance date, so good luck to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Case number 22. S&O Investment USA LLC. Anyone here for the respondent?
Yeah, he was here earlier. That's the one we talked with.
Oh, that's the, no, you
That's the
called
Okay,
him
yes,
first.
I'm sorry. Did I already announce that?
Yep, you did that first.
Very
Yeah.
good. All right. That brings us to case number 23. Denise T. Diabato. Okay, folks, if you would please state your names and be sworn.
Denise D'Abato.
Mike Manderville.
Thanks. Say your last name again.
Manderville.
Raise your right hands. You swear from the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Okay, Inspector Curtis Wiggins, Code Compliance, credentials on file. Respondent was first notified of violation February the 11th, 2023. Since August hearing, progress was made. I've had contact with the owner for the first time, which was October the 7th.
October 7th is the first time you've heard from the owner?
Since the last hearing.
August?
Yes.
Okay.
Last inspection was October the 4th, 2024. The result of the re-inspection was non-compliance, but staff recommend that we amend to the next cutoff.
What's left to be done?
Well, you have to complete the deck, the entire deck. But he have added some steps and stuff to it from the last hearing.
Okay. All right. Our inspector seems to think you ought to be able to have this done by November 6th. What say y'all to that?
I was hoping we could go to maybe the January cutoff. We have a big issue right now with the contractor. We went for, he wasn't ordering the materials right. There was a lot of mistakes being made. A lot of things had to be repaired. And then you can see that white load of materials there. Took 3.5 weeks to get that after the last time we were here. And then from then we had the hurricane. They didn't show, they weren't there through the hurricane. They took time. And then for the last over a month now, we haven't been able to get him back to the property. I finally demanded him to come back to see what his subcontractors were doing. And it pretty much just turned into arguments about everything. Him siding with his guys, and I said, we need to have, the final thing we left it at, this was just past Saturday. The final result of that discussion was we need to have an inspector come back and get in the middle of us and see what, because I've already talked to the building inspector and he said if what I'm saying is true, it's an automatic fail. So we need to have the inspector back out to verify what I'm saying and get this contractor to fix
Who's
the
the
problem.
contractor?
Steve Van Arnhem. And we got his name from the building department. And one of the things I said to him is you should feel guilty for taking advantage of people like this. And he said, I don't feel guilty at all. So we're having a major problem. I mean, we're at wit's end right now. We're trying to do everything we're supposed to do to comply. We were forced.
Okay, as I understood what you were telling me, your only concern is a deck that remains to be finished?
Well, again, what he told me was, because we also had the boarded windows, you have the windows, but according to the owner here, he says the deck has to be put in first before they can actually put the windows in and have that inspected. And
So the windows right now, they're in temporarily. So they have to be finished up and all the trim stuff after with the deck's done, all the trim stuff. But, I mean, there was a bunch of everybody thinks, well, you should just be able to put a deck on the house. But we had to have the inside reframed. The house actually sunk 2 inches on that side, so we had to have the house lifted. So all this has been like an ongoing thing. If you looked at the entirety of the project, there's a bunch more than just putting the deck on. But right now, we're at the deck stage. And then after, dealing with this guy and leaving the wrong, using the wrong screws, the wrong length screws, not lagging it to the house proper, there's just a bunch of things. And he's saying that I'm delaying it because I'm having him change things. And I said, let's get it straight. I'm having you fix mistakes because your guys do not know how to build a deck. So we obviously hired the wrong contractor. We got his name from the building department because we couldn't find anybody that was able to do it now, because any good contractor right now, if you go to them, they're 3-4 months out. So, and we're trying to get this done, and we're just in a bad spot. I mean, she's talking about, let's just sell the house and get out, because this has just become ridiculous. But right now, where we're at on Saturday, I said we need to have the inspector back out, and he needs to look at this stuff and figure out where we go from here, and we don't know where to go. And I'm afraid this guy's just going to walk away anyway.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna give you till January and hope everything works out, because given all you've told me, it doesn't sound too promising for starters. So, I'm going to put you on our, did you say we don't have a December 10 meeting?
Correct.
So I'm going to January anyway.
I'd appreciate it. We can try and straighten this out.
Okay, well, what I was about to say was I was going to put you on the December 10 meeting for another progress report, because if need be, I will monitor this thing and see to it that it gets done, understanding that you're wrestling with a contractor. Sounds as though the inspector is relatively satisfied for the time being, which takes away a little bit of the grief. All right, January 14, 2025, you're back here for a progress report. Hopefully the progress is everything got worked out and you're done.
That's what I'm hoping.
But if not, then we'll just babysit it until it's done. And if it means bringing y'all back every month, we bring you back every month for a progress report.
Yeah. I mean, this caused a major rift between us. We don't rent to anybody right now. We're living in one of the apartments because we haven't been able to be in our place for the last 4 months. And he's always supposed to be like 2 weeks. And,
understood. And if you want to bring your contractor down here, you can do that too.
Okay.
All right, so if nothing else, we'll see you on January 14, 2025 for another progress report.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Case number 27. Hayden International College Incorporated. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Yes, my name is Todd David Brussells, and I am here on behalf of Hadgen International, 228 North Ridgewood Avenue.
Do we have somebody on Zoom also for this one?
I do not know. I text them, but I haven't.
Okay. Do you think they showed up?
If he's saying no or.
Let's go. He's here.
Oh, Paul, okay. Raise your hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to provide the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your affiliation with the respondent?
I am the general contractor that they hired to do the structural repairs to the south wall.
All right, let's hear from our inspector.
Mark Jones, Code Compliance. Respondent was first notified on August 18th, 2023. Since the last hearing on July 9th, 2024, there has been no contact from the property owner or the contractor. There does
Since
not.
when?
Since July 9th, 2024 hearing.
Go ahead.
There does not appear to be any major progress on the exterior of the building. Staff is recommending a fine of $250 a day with a cap of $25,000. If you look at the photos, the first two are from back in May of 2022, May 22nd of 24. Are you able to bring the photos up a little larger?
Weren't you at one of our prior meetings?
Yeah, I think this is my third. Yeah.
When was the last time you were here?
Your last meeting, I believe,
What did you tell us was going to happen between then and now?
that we would be in compliance by the end of October.
What happened to that?
Well, it's not the end of October.
So
We're
you're telling me
still
you're on
on.
your way to being in compliance by the
We're
end of
still on
October?
track for that, yes, sir. We have been, he says there's not been much progress, but if he just checks the inspection reports, he can find that we've been passing all our inspections. I've been having inspections right along, and we've been passing them all. I haven't failed an inspection yet. So we are making the progress. There's been
So
delays.
what you're telling me is you'll be done by November 6th.
Correct. I will have the south wall finished and stuccoed by November 6th. The
Okay,
entire
well, I'm
building
looking
will
at
not be
A lot more
done.
here than the south wall stuccoed in.
Correct. I do not have a permit to do all of that work yet.
Okay, let's back up.
I only have a permit for the south wall as of now.
Is that the south wall?
That is the south wall.
Pretty scuzzy looking.
Yes.
Does it still look like that?
Yes, it does. The paint is falling off the building, and you know we have to do it all at once. If we just paint it, it'll just be wasted.
Okay, Mr.
time and
Inspector, what's he
material.
doing to me here? He keeps talking about the south wall, and you keep talking about a lot more than that.
Well, yes, my understanding from the last hearing that we had is that they were going to do, I believe they called it a black building.
I'm sorry, it's called a dark shell.
Okay, a dark shell,
Yes.
that they were going to be complete with the exterior of the building by this cutoff. That was what was represented at the last hearing. That is the south wall, and if you look at that's the back, the rear of the building as it is now.
Right.
And as you can see, this is current as to all the soffit fascia that has been blown off. That's been the same, that has been like that since August of 2023.
Yes, that's true.
So you tell me what is supposed to be done, what do they need to do between now and November 6th?
Well, our understanding was the building was going to be completely completed on the exterior.
Right, so
Correct.
the south wall wouldn't look like that.
Correct.
The soffit and the fascia wouldn't look like that.
That's correct.
And that west wall, or whatever it was you told me about, wouldn't look like that.
Correct.
And that's what it looks like now,
That was as of a week and a half ago.
week and a half ago. Okay, has anything changed over the last week and a half?
Not appearance-wise, no. We've made
That
structural.
sounds like a no.
Okay.
Structural what?
Improvements. We're replacing.
The exterior?
Yes. If you look at the south wall, you'll see patches where the concrete's been replaced, where the bond beams and the columns are. You can see there's a small section at the bottom of the left column there on the second floor, and then there's a much larger section on the next column over. Some of the columns have been completely replaced. You're just not seeing them in this picture. And most of the bond beams on the top floor have been replaced.
So by November 6th, this exterior is going to be done.
November 6th, let me look here. Yes, we should be able to do that. The stucco guy should only take about a week once he gets started. It's me getting out of his way. I've got to get the structure done before he can do the stucco. And we've had delays on the structure. We keep running into problems that weren't on the blueprints, and then I have to go back to the engineer, and they have to decide how to solve that problem. I'm not qualified to solve it.
Like what kind of problems?
Well, for instance, there's a section of ceiling that is what's called cast-in-place concrete, which has ribs in it. I don't know if you're familiar with this type of a structure, but the rebar is supposed to be in the center of those ribs. But whoever poured the concrete let the rebar fall all the way to the bottom of the form, and so it was just covered by a thin veneer of concrete. So when I chipped out the bond beam, though, just the vibration from me chipping it out crumbled the concrete going back, so then I could see that the rebar is not properly placed. So now we've had to, I had to ask engineers about reshoring. We had to go in and reshore everything per their instructions, and then they had to write a prescription for how to repair that area. Once we got that done, we started again, and then we ran into another problem, which is behind the elevator shaft, where again, the steel that ties into the bond beam is completely eroded. And because of the way it's all structured, I didn't know how to fix it. So again, I had to go back to the engineer. They had to redraw, show me how to fix it, basically, redraw that. That's all. I've still got to submit that last drawing to the city, but I haven't started that part of the repair yet. So right now I'm on the bond beam next to it. I've got 2 bond beams and 1 column left to do. It's about 2 weeks of work. And then the stucco guy will be in there doing his thing.
So we're thinking we're going to have our dark shell there on
Yes.
November 6th.
Correct. The exterior of the building will look good, not pristine, but good. It'll look like it's been painted because the stucco has got color in
Okay,
it.
let's back up. I just heard weasel words.
Yeah. So like the front
Translate
door,
that one for me.
the front door's not going to be replaced. The windows are not going to be replaced. They don't look great. But they'll, the outside of the building will be structurally sound. It will be painted in effect because the stucco's got the color mixed into it. The soffits will all be repaired. It will look like a finished building from the outside.
Except
the front door is going
and
to,
windows.
the front door needs to be replaced. It's not that it's broken, it's just old. And anybody that's going to buy it's going to want to replace it because it just shakes when you
Okay.
pull it.
So, just so I can understand this, what is not included in my dark shell that's going to be done by November 6th?
What's not included in the dark? Everything in the dark shell is going to be done.
Okay.
I'm just saying that whoever buys the building is still going to need to replace doors, some of the windows,
Are
things
the
like
doors and the
that.
windows part of the notice of violation?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, I don't know where we are on this, but I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance. Is this all that remains as far as this notice of violation is concerned, Mr. Inspector?
Yes, what remains is going ahead and finishing the exterior walls
Right.
and doing the damaged soffit and fascia.
Right?
And that's really all that's been remaining here for quite some
Okay.
time.
That's all that they need me to do, but there's other things I have to do before I can take that step. And that's the only reason we didn't just take the step when they
I
asked us to.
understand. I understand. All right, anyway. So, we're talking about full compliance by November 6th.
Right.
Or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. We're amending our current order of noncompliance. So when you're done, we're going to have a uniform-looking exterior
Correct.
for the most part.
Correct.
Except we'll have an old door and some old windows, but those aren't part of the notice.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, good luck to you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, case number 30. I believe this is a Zoom appearance. Mesa Nova Daytona LLC.
Somebody's here too.
And we have somebody here.
Wasn't he here?
All right, who do we have on Zoom for Mesa Nova Daytona LLC?
Ephraim? Yeah, they're both on Zoom.
Hello.
All right, if you Zoom folks would please state your names and be sworn by our secretary, we'll proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So we should have 5 people on. We should have Joey on, and Andy, and Cody, and who else? Danny and Devaro. We should have 5 or 6 of us should be on over here. Can you see everyone?
I can see enough.
Andy. I've got Andy Clark. Okay. I'm sorry, what is your name, sir?
My name is Ephraim Brody.
Okay, no, the gentleman in the bottom corner. Who is he? Can everybody say your name, please?
Oh, sure.
My
Joey
name?
Posey.
I heard you. I'm sorry, say it again.
Joey Posey.
Joey Posey.
Mhm.
And you, Mr. Daniel? Daniel Parker?
Yeah, that's me, Daniel Parker.
Raise your right hand. Everybody, you swear the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You guys have to turn on your cameras. Andy Clark, Cody, is it Bogart?
Cody Bogart.
They need to be separately sworn. They
You need, yeah. Okay, state your name, please.
Cody Bogart.
And you are? Okay. All right, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And you?
This is Andy Clark with All Aboard Storage.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Alrighty. You sworn everybody yet?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Jones is our inspector. Amended at September hearing, permit-ready site plans by September 24th or possible imposition of a fine. Continued for progress report on October 10th to establish compliance date for overall project. Do we have the permit-ready site plans?
No, sir.
Why don't we have permit-ready site plans?
And maybe, Your Honor, I'll jump into this, and I'm the attorney for All Aboard Storage, and Cody Bogart can help me here. They are in process, and part of the complication we had was with the platting and the overlap of the platting applications for this property, but we are diligently working on it, and we would love to have it done today, but we also got caught in a catch-22 recently where our PD agreement lapsed in the interim of this approval process. So we're being directed by land development to have to go through a major amendment process to add for more time to the existing PD agreement. So we have pending plans that are in process. And that is really the part of this that we're trying to get through very quickly and also get a handle on. And that's why they've secured my services to help navigate that and get it done. I'm sure there's still some things that we can do to be helpful for code compliance and the site readiness of what needs to be done and what they've been cited for, but we are trying to do our best to work through that part of the process to get the approved plans that allow for the permits to be pulled to incorporate those improvements that are being cited for. Does that sound like a good summation of it, Cody, or?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's talk to our inspector. Where are we, Mr. Inspector?
Well, the respondent was first notified of these violations back on October 16th of 2023. Code continues to get complaints about the lack of parking lot lighting and the potholes throughout the parking lot. A parking lot lighting plan was submitted on May 6th, 2024, and it was returned for corrections on May 7th, 2024, and there has been no response from the electrical contractor to that request for additional information. At the last hearing, it was ordered that a full set of site plans be submitted to the building department by September 24th, or be returned for the imposition of a fine. That did not happen. No site plans have been submitted. I had not had contact from anyone until yesterday, where they informed me they now have a problem. I contacted the Director of Planning and Development, Dennis Morozak, and what he responded was the PD agreement for this property currently has expired timetable for development. They are going to have to resubmit for a complete review of the PD agreement. That process now can take approximately 6 more months. The staff is recommending a fine of $1,000 per day with a cap of $70,000.
Why do I have to cap it?
Per the regular, that is per what the agreement with the city has as to the value of the property. As to 1.5 million, it's up to 25,000. Then another 5,000 per every 500 of the appraised value, which maxes out at 70,000.
Pursuant to our maximum fine ordinance, where we maximized the various fines under certain, based on the criteria as expressed by the magistrate. So for commercial property, this would, and looking at the value of that property would determine how much the maximum fine would be.
I'm trying to remember the zoning term that describes y'all's situation. I think it starts with the word cluster. I can't remember the rest of it. So I'm hearing we might be looking at this for a minimum of another 6 months before you even have this PD agreement. Is that what I'm hearing?
Your Honor, that's correct, and I'm working on I think a compromise to this too. What I talked to Doug Gutierrez earlier today, who's talking with Dennis, who directs directly with him. I'm trying to figure out what I can do.
We didn't realize this was about to happen.
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
How did we get to the point where we didn't realize our development agreement was about to end?
I think it was just a lapse of judgment because, to be honest with you, they would have been entitled to an extension under emergency orders, et cetera. And I think it was just an oversight because they did not expect this review process to take as long as it did with the site plan plus the platting. The part to this that I think that I'm working to get this moving as quick as possible is I think there can be some interim work that can be done to address any overlaps, or at least some overlaps within the site plan versus the PD agreement that can be done to address these things. And I had asked Doug this morning to get with Dennis to see if there's opportunity there, because some of this I think can be worked out in some manner if some striping. And I understand from the property owner's perspective, he doesn't want to do this twice. And if there's some things we can do to do once and maybe get some limited approvals on what can be done on the site, even though it's at our risk given the state of the zoning, I just wanted that opportunity to have that discussion. And of course, I would commit to you if I can't make that happen. I understand the risk we run with it. That is correct. It is a 6-month process for the PD amendment process, but maybe there's a way to work this out where we can have some limited approvals to get some of these site conditions addressed while we're working through that.
I think my biggest disappointment is that I would only get to fine you $70,000. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue the determination of the fine until the January 14, 2025 meeting. Because quite frankly, at $1,000 a day, you'll run up a $70,000 tab pretty quickly anyway. And by January 14, 2025, if I'm not impressed by what you've accomplished between now and then I'm going to fine you.
Understood.
Now, I don't know what these interim measures are that you're talking about. I don't know to what extent they ameliorate the concerns the city has. I know it'll do nothing as far as the citizenry is concerned that looks at this eyesore on a daily basis. But I will keep an open mind, and I will wait till January 14, 2025 to see what the status of this is then. So I'm tabling the imposition of the fine until my January 14, 2025 meeting, and you can talk to this inspector about everything you can do between now and then to not only get this thing back on track where it's supposed to be, but to do whatever you can in the interim to satisfy him. And to be perfectly honest, I don't give a damn how many times the owner pays for the same stuff anymore. Am I clear?
Understood, Your Honor.
Is there anything else?
Well, the concern is that they, with the lighting and the potholes. And
You've heard about the lighting, you've heard about the potholes. I assume you're aware of those issues as well.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Are you looking for something specific as to each of those?
Well, we just like if they're going to wait till January, if they would maintain.
No one's waiting till
I mean,
January. What do you
excuse me.
want?
I want the potholes maintained, which they are not as of the visit yesterday, and that they do something to improve the lighting because there are a lot of businesses there.
What can they expect you to do? Okay, potholes, I understand. I'll take care of that.
Okay.
What can reasonably be expected of them on an interim basis with regard to the lighting that you're talking about?
Well, my concern is that whatever is needed to improve the lighting, I don't know. I don't know what they can do, whether it is just making sure all the lighting is working properly and is in, working condition.
Okay, I'm going to add an addition to that order, that the potholes are to be maintained and that the lighting conditions are to be improved. And if those don't happen by November 6, 2024, then the respondent will be returned to the special magistrate as to those issues for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
And Your Honor, just to be sure I'm not speaking out of term here, I would like the property owner to at least have confirmed that that's his understanding also.
Who's the property owner?
I'm the property owner, and we did the potholes a few months ago.
All right.
And the potholes keep on coming out. We can keep on doing them, but every time we do them, they come out. We spend $5-6 grand doing them, and after 2 months, all the potholes come out. They're temporary. There's nothing we can do. No matter how many times you do it, it keeps it coming out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Potholes have to be maintained and the lighting conditions have to be improved between now and November 6th. I'm sorry, but that's maintenance of the property. That's your job. Anything else?
Lighting conditions, we need new lights on property. We need lights. We need a permit for that. We need plans for
I'm not familiar
that.
with what the circumstances are. I suggest somebody contact this inspector and work with him. I guarantee you he's a pretty reasonable fellow, so I'm sure he'll try to accommodate you the best he can. But he obviously has some safety issue concerns here, or else he wouldn't be raising the matter. So somebody needs to get in touch with this inspector and figure it out.
And that's, I agree with you, Your Honor. And the one thing I will caveat is that it's the understanding that the city's also working with us to allow for these permits too. So, we're happy to do what we can and get those permits, and we'll do our part. And I believe that's the same understanding you have too. So I'm right there with you, and we will reach out to the inspector.
All right, gentlemen, good luck to you.
Okay.
Okay. Case number 31 is a Zoom. Covenant Community Development Corporation of Florida, LLC. Are we awaiting Mr. Donaldson?
Correct.
Mr. Donaldson, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
All right, we are here for Covenant Community Development Corporation of Florida, LLC. This matter has been continued from the September hearing for a progress report and to set a compliance date. So what progress is there to report?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
I'm
So,
sorry. You need
He's
to
an
be-
attorney.
Pardon?
He's an attorney.
Very good, okay. All right, go ahead, the progress?
yes, sir. So since the September hearing, I personally met with Mr. Jones to do a walkthrough of the property and ensure that we're aligned with all the necessary remediation efforts. Additionally, we met with Mike Underwood from ML Underwood Construction, who recommend that we engaged DJ Design Inc., who's a local engineering firm and architecture firm, to prepare drawings needed for the roof repair. On the 16th of September, we met with Mr. Dana Smith from DJ Design Inc., who did an initial inspection. And during that meeting, he informed us, or he advised us, that we needed to actually hire a structural engineer, and that the work that was needed was outside of his scope. He provided us additional referrals, and we have since now engaged LAV Engineering PLLC to address the structural concerns and provide us with the remediation and remodel plans. Mr. Louis Anthony Vagato, who is the owner of LAB Engineering, he did intend to attend this hearing today, but due to the impending storm, he was unable to. He is scheduled to inspect the property and provide us a full report by October the 18th, which we will then forward to ML Underwood Construction so they can proceed with the next necessary repairs. Given the current progress, we respectfully request an additional 60-day extension time to the next hearing to allow us to provide a further update on the completion of this project.
So if I understand what you're saying, you've got an engineer, he'll have a report to you by October 18th. That report gets turned over to Underwood, he's your contractor, and then you go from there. Did I hear that correctly?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Let's say the city.
I have not had any contact with anyone since the last hearing. We did meet on site after the hearing in regards to other code violations that the property had. Checking our system, I mean, no application, I guess from what he's giving me on his update, no application for a roof permit had been submitted, so we were looking for a compliance date of next month. Possibly if we can get a progress report next month, that would at least let us know that something's in the works.
We have no objection to providing a progress report next month, Your Honor, and
I want a progress report, and I want to see that engineer's report.
not a problem. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, then I will continue this matter to our November 12, 2024 meeting. And at that point, hopefully, we will have the engineer's report. And we should have a little clearer view as to what the immediate future holds. The other matters on the notice of compliance, maintenance of the property and what have you, is that being done?
We addressed it when I was on site after our last hearing. I don't know, I haven't had any contact whether they've completed those repairs yet.
Okay. I'm expecting the respondent to take care of all the other items in the notice of violation that
yes, Your Honor.
also are there. I understand the construction plans, I understand that, but let's not lose sight of the fact that we have other issues to be resolved as well. And it always helps if the minor things are gotten out of the way.
If I may, sir, the minor items have already had a fine in place, a daily fine, for not coming into compliance on those.
Okay, and I'm reminded there's also a running fine. So you might want to get those things in compliance and get it brought, anyway, you might want to get those matters in compliance.
Yeah, Your Honor, we attempted to address that during the last hearing, and those issues we did address. I think there was a disagreement between the code enforcement officer, Mr. Jones, and our side as to what the actual issues were per the fine, and that's the reason why we did meet immediately after the hearing, so that way we could be on the same page as to what those issues were. So we're not ignoring any of the other violations, and we also feel that we've already taken care of them based on the original
Anything you've
notice.
taken care of, call for an inspection. All right. Anyway, good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, case number 33. R&J Estates, LLC.
State your name.
My name is Rosa Alvarado.
Rosa
Alvarado. Alvarado.
And your name?
Freddy. My name is Freddy Aucakispe.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What's y'all's affiliation with R&J Estates, LLC?
We own the company with my husband.
Very good. All right, continued from the September hearing for a progress report and determination of a compliance date. Who am I getting my progress report from? Ms. Alvarado? What progress?
We've been looking everywhere to somebody to help us, but we still not get.
Looking for somebody to help you do what?
Well, since we were here the last time, and here's the inspector, he'll let you know, we've been trying to contact different people. Our situation is a little bit different because, you know, everything looks nice and safety on the house was the fact of one item that was not done with permit that it needs to be updated. But it's not the city doesn't want to work with us, it's the fact that they want this house to be coded by FEMA. And FEMA is the one that is giving us some challenge in the fact that one, they're not cooperating. It's very difficult to get in touch with them. And second, everything is very new for everybody, for the city, for us, in the fact that they want to elevate this house. They want this house to be elevated in order for the city to provide us the permits that we're requiring. Now, we actually asked the city that they can go ahead and take a look at the permits that they request, but unfortunately, if this is not elevated by FEMA requirement, unfortunately, they cannot go.
What's going on?
Well, this is a case where they did remodel work on the interior of the property without a permit. When they were noticed that they had to get an after-the-fact permit, they went and applied for the permit, and unfortunately, the elevation of the finished floor is below what FEMA's requirements are. So in essence, this is a case where the elevation of the floor has to be raised. I believe it was 4 inches or?
I think
Yeah.
Is that even doable?
Would be very expensive on a finished floor, concrete floor. I don't know that it's even doable. I mean, it's doable, everything's doable at a price.
It's gonna cost about $120,000.
To raise the house 4 inches? All right,
Yes.
well, I can officially say that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of.
And that's
And
why
why do we care about FEMA?
Well, it is a requirement for them to get a permit from the building department. FEMA has regulations as to what finished floor elevation has to be, and if a certain percentage of money is spent to rehab a building, they have to get a permit, and that is something that we may see coming up in the future even.
So there could be whole swaths of communities out there that are too low to get a permit?
I believe that's a possibility.
Okay, well, how do I circumvent that?
That's above my ability to circumvent it.
Okay, well, let's back up. What was he cited for to begin with?
Doing interior remodel without a permit.
How much interior remodeling did he do?
it was floors, the kitchen cabinets, and the bathroom. That was actually taking painting side,
work
floors.
yourself?
Yes, the gentleman, he's actually the, well, not, there was like a company that was, hired also to do it. Now, because it was the floors, the painting, and the kitchen cabinets, they thought that it was not needed.
So you're telling me these people aren't going to get a permit until they raise their house 4 inches?
Yes.
That's
And
what
you're
the,
asking me to fine them for not doing that?
I would recommend if we could amend this to the January hearing to see if they would have the ability to find. I know they're researching other things that they can do to the building, at least through the conversations I've had with them.
Yeah, we already did, and the things we're looking for, they're only being accepted if we are a commercial property.
This is something new for everybody, and that's something that is going to be coming up.
This brings me back to what I was getting to begin with. So is this this is a residential property?
That's a residential.
You just told me it's not a commercial property.
No.
So what, is this going to be like your home or something?
No, we bought it investment.
Okay, so it is an investment. All right, I understand that part. Did they, and I'm really not, read nothing into my ignorant questions. Did they need a permit to begin with for the work that was done?
What the building department has stated, yes, that they needed a permit.
Who's the building department?
That's permits and licensing. Down the hall from here are the ones who stated they needed a permit for the work that they had completed.
So this is an owner renovating private property, and the extent of the renovations that were done, according to the building department, required a permit.
Yes, sir. I believe they purchased it as an investment, then did the work on the interior of the property, planning to resell it, I assume, and what they did required a permit. I do not know all the details.
Does this ultimately culminate in the city coming to me and saying, fine them because they don't have a permit, because they haven't raised their property 4 inches, because that's what FEMA wants them to do?
That's a possibility, sir.
Ms.
That's
McKelge,
a
if I
pretty
could be
remote
heard.
possibility.
I understand.
Yeah, okay, I'll need to be heard. That's good.
Okay, I'm going to continue this matter to our January 14, 2025 meeting, and hopefully somebody can figure something out.
The city only give us 2 options, or lift it, or, ¿cómo se dice? Quitarla?
Just remove.
Yeah, lift or
But,
demolish, sounds to me.
Yeah, but like I said, because this is something new, so we're still, everybody is pretty much trying to find some information. We went to a couple of attorneys. They said the same thing. This is new. We need to do a research. It's going to take some time. So maybe this is something that's going to be coming up in the near future more often, because everything is new at this point for everybody.
Is this like a new rule and regulation?
It is a new statute that came out, my understanding. I don't have all
It
the,
said local
no, it's,
building departments can't issue permits unless they satisfy certain FEMA requirements.
that is my understanding, sir.
And one of these requirements, I guess, is that floor level not be below some sort of floodplain or something like that.
That's my understanding, sir.
Okay. Okay. Are they allowed to install a sump pump to remediate?
I don't know. I know they've
I'm
been,
involved in litigation right now with a $4 million house in Norman Beach, and they have a basement that's below the floodplain. And they were told by the building department they'd have to install a sump pump, so they did. I'm just
No,
asking.
they don't give us that option.
Yeah, we are actually asking the city if we can have some options. Even we were going to hire a flood-resistant development just to, make sure that they protect the house around. But they said it was not acceptable. So they said it's something new. So they're still trying to figure out what can be done on this situation. So at this point, we did try different areas, including, like you were mentioning, protecting the house around. But I think at this point, even the city is still doing the research, trying to find out what is acceptable or not.
All right, well, you've got until January 14 of 2025 to come up with hopefully a plausible solution. Otherwise, I guess I'll deal with the violation as however I'm going to deal with the violation. So we'll see you again on January 14, 2025, and maybe somebody's come up with a solution. Maybe, hopefully, someone will have a solution between now and then. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 34, Rim Kim Incorporated. This is, I believe these folks are appearing by Zoom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
We're talking to the representative for Rem Kim.
Well, to get a little cardboard sign to hold up.
Okay, he's ready for you.
All right, yes, sir, if you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Mr. Aversano?
Oh, I apologize. I didn't hear it was me. Michael Aversano.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir, what is your affiliation with Rim Kim Incorporated?
I am the president.
You're the what now?
I am the president. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Let me raise the volume.
very good. This matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Respondent was first notified on May 15th of 2024. Since last hearing, there has been no contact from the owner. There's been no permit application submitted for the steps. Staff is recommending a fine of $100 a day with a cap of 15.
All right, what's going on?
Well, unfortunately, the general contractor I hired to do the job decided he's not going to do it, which is totally my fault, and I take full responsibility for such. I have since hired a new contractor, an architect, to take care of this issue and get the plans and do the proper permitting.
Who's your new architect?
Alliance Contractors, Fernando, I'm trying to remember his last name. And Juan Negron. They're going to be filing the permits for us, filing and correcting the issue.
And who's your contractor?
Alliance Contractor is the name of them.
So these folks are going to be submitting your permit application?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to continue this matter until the November 12th, 2024 meeting. And hopefully at that meeting, you'll be able to update me on what progress has been made. And if there is no progress that's been made and no plausible explanation for the absence of any progress, then you'll get fined. Hopefully you'll tell me you got all sorts of things underway, and then I'll have a different attitude. How's that sound?
Very good. Thank you, sir.
All right, then I will continue this matter to our November 12, 2024 meeting in its current state, and hopefully you will have a permit application, and then we can take you out of the "you've ignored us" category.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. All
All
right.
right, Mayor, let's go.
Lien review number 6.
We got 1 and 2.
Well, hold it. Who do we have
We
left?
have 1 and 2.
Pardon?
We have lien review 1 and 2.
Okay. Who are these folks? Why are they still here?
Lien review number 3.
They're lien reviews.
And what
Lien
are you here
review
for?
1 and 2 is the first guy here.
1 and 2?
Yep.
Okay, that's where we're at. Lien review 1 and 2. Okay, Mackenzie Turek, David Turek, 517 Wallace Street. Lien review number 1. In order imposing fine lien November 4, 2021, $100 a day, all the way up to $15,024. Compliance September 17, 2024. Okay, yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
David Turek.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. You're David Turk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first off, has there been any discussion between the city and the respondent?
There was no agreement reached.
Okay, all right. I read the letter, Mr. Turk. What else do you have to add?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, the notices of violations that were sent out were never received by my daughter or by myself. The deed was switched in 2016, but due to circumstances beyond our control, it hadn't been recorded. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into as to why.
Wasn't the deed recorded?
I'm not really sure why it wasn't recorded.
The deed to whom wasn't recorded?
To my daughter in 2016.
Why would she not record her deed?
I don't know that I have an answer that why she didn't record it. It was done. It just wasn't changed, or the address wasn't changed with the property appraiser. I'm not really sure of the details.
Well, if the deed wasn't recorded, how would the property appraiser know there was any change in title?
I couldn't tell you that.
And I'm flabbergasted at the thought of somebody getting a deed to a piece of property they wouldn't record. Kind of like taking the title to your car and throwing it in a trash can.
Well, there was a lot of circumstances surrounding it. If you'd like me to go into detail, I could.
No, I want to understand why she didn't record a deed. That's not a very complicated process.
When you're 16 years old, then you're not familiar with any of that.
How'd she get the deed to begin with? Weren't there attorneys involved?
No, it was a quitclaim deed.
Okay. All right, what say the city?
Okay. We came to a decision to lower the lien to $1,500. And, a side note, Mr. Turk attended the hearing on October 14th of 2021. It was found in noncompliance. It was given till a November cutoff for compliance. But $1,500 is what the city has agreed to.
You're not agreeing to the 1,500?
That number was never presented to me, Your Honor.
Okay, it's being presented to you now. You agreeable to the 1,500?
I would agree to it. The problem is I don't have the funds to pay it. So if it has to be paid in a certain amount of time, the only reason we even found out about the liens at all is because the property taxes are behind. We're in a really bad spot financially all the way around, and decided that we may have to sell it because we just can't afford to live anymore. It's been so difficult for us.
Okay, well, I'm tasked with determining whether the circumstances that culminated in the fine being imposed would warrant a reduction. The city, quite frankly, has been very gracious in offering $1,500.
I understand.
Because just for your information, all that does is cover the expense.
I understand.
Of all the inspectors and what have you that have worked on this over the years.
I accept it.
So my point is, that amount, unless you can convince me of some other amount that makes more sense, and I haven't heard that at all, right now is about to prevail. And if I were you, I would be inclined to accept that before they change their mind, and then figure out how I was going to pay it later. But that's up to you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, sir.
All right, well, I'll agree, as per the city's suggestion, that the fine and lien be reduced to the sum of $1,500, subject to being paid within 30 days. If it's not paid within 30 days, then the original fine lien remains in effect. Now, if you have a closing coming up or a loan pending that causes you to need additional time, if you'll talk to the city attorney, they work with people on things like that. So that's about as much as I can do for you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
You actually have the next one as well, but this is both, he has 1 and 2.
All right, lien review number 2. Same circumstance?
Similar but different.
Okay, then let me read this. Okay, this fine is similarly $15,024. I take it there's been no discussions with between the parties?
There was a discussion, but we didn't come to an agreement.
Okay. Did you have anything to add on this case?
Property belonged to my stepfather. I was listed on the deed with survivorship rights.
Okay.
He was sick and passed away in New York. When it came to my attention that I was the sole owner of the property, this all happened at the same time, like I said, because we couldn't afford to, to keep and maintain them. And when I went to try and sell them and found out the liens were on there, I immediately called the building inspector. When she came out, they were in compliance. The address that was listed on this particular property is an address that I have no clue where it came from. I contacted the title company to ask them. I did a Google search on the address to show that there's actually a pizza place there in New York somewheres. And my stepfather's address, which is in Pine Bush, I included all his information as well. And I have no clue where this address was that the notices were being sent to.
Okay. Well, I assume the city is satisfied that the notice requirements were fulfilled.
That's correct.
I think the mail was actually returned as well, with address, no known address or something on the envelope, if I remember correctly.
So did nobody ever go to this property?
We live in New York, Your Honor.
And you own property in Florida,
I do now. Now I'm a resident here.
and you don't follow up on it? Okay. What was the city proposing in this instance?
Same thing, 1,500 to reduce it to 15.
Okay. And your response to that is you don't have
That's
any-
fine.
Pardon?
That's fine.
All right, I'll order that the fine and lien be reduced to the sum of $1,500, subject to being paid within 30 days.
Thank you.
Otherwise, the order imposing fine and lien remains in effect. All right, good luck to you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Lien review number 3.
Lien review number 3 and lien review number 4, the city's asking that we continue this. Those were the ones that we considered last. Am I not on the right one? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's on 4 and 5. Never mind.
Yep.
Lien review number 3. Is it Daniel Marashi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Daniel Gavro Marashi.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Has there been any discussion between the parties regarding this fine?
Yes, and there was no agreement.
Okay. But all right, Mr. Marashi, what was the extenuating circumstances that kept the respondent from coming into compliance in a timely manner?
So I ended up essentially getting shot in end of October, November of 22. I ended up staying in custody while I was dealing with surgery, and then I ended up going to county jail eventually. And then from there, I signed a year prison deal. So I ended up staying incarcerated for all of 23, and then I ended up getting released in 24 of April.
Okay. So the explanation for the failure to come into compliance was because you were incarcerated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did the city propose reducing this to?
We did not agree to any reduction. After this case was opened and was before the special magistrate in March of 2023, then in July of 2023, another case had to be opened because 2 connexes had been set on the site.
2 what?
Connex, the storage containers,
Okay.
and they were removed September 13th of 2023. And then in May of this year, another vacant lot case was opened for an unmaintained landscaping. This case did come into compliance on May 14th, 24, and at that time that brought the original violation from 2022 into compliance. It did not come into compliance until May 14th of 2024. It's been a nuisance property. We've received numerous complaints on it for being unmaintained.
All right. So aside from the incarceration, what other explanation do you have?
So this case originally started with Daniel Garcia. I also had, I think, Sarah Kirk here around the area at the time when she was patrolling it. I essentially bought this property. It was an eyesore to Daytona Beach. It was a junkyard. It had a carport. It was filthy. It had so much stuff on the property where it took me multiple months to get it off. I ended up coming slowly. There was a tree. I had to dig up the asphalt. As you see, that was there. I had to bring a skid steer. I dug up the asphalt. Those containers were dropped on my property from I don't know who or where. I was in prison at the time. I ended up getting them removed while I was incarcerated because I had to call my father. But essentially, all of 2023, and I just got out 2024, I couldn't do nothing with my situation.
What's the relief you're looking for?
A reduced fine.
What do you propose?
I'm willing to pay the same 10%, anything reduced.
I think the city would agree to a reduction to $5,000, but we feel that with this being a property that continued to have violations on it, we really don't feel that we could go any lower than that.
Okay, I'm going to reduce the fine to the sum of $4,000, subject to being paid within 30 days. If it's not paid within 30 days, it remains in effect as is. Okay? Good luck to you. And as I mentioned earlier, if your funds are a matter of timing, contact the city attorney, and to the extent he can work with you, he will.
And where do I pay these fines at?
I'll do an invoice.
Okay.
I'll call you.
Do you have a proper address here?
I've got it.
She has a number for me.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you. Okay, now I think we're at lien review number 6.
Yeah, she's on Zoom. Oh, well, did you want to do yours real quick? No. Okay.
Dealing with the ones that's here.
Yeah, he's on 6.
Just anxious to get it out.
Yes, ma'am, if you would please state your name.
Linear Damasceno.
All right, if you would please be sworn by our secretary.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right. We have an order imposing fine as of August 4, 2024 at $250 a day for a total of $15,024. Has there been any discussions between the parties to resolve this matter?
There was a discussion, but no agreement was made.
All right. Go ahead. What is your, what's the nature of the relief you're looking for, and what are the extenuating circumstances I should be taking into consideration?
Okay. So that lien, it was recorded on August 16. I purchased this property on September the 3rd, like 15 days after. So when I did the due diligence to purchase this property, because it was acquired through the tax sale auction, I didn't notice it was the lien, so we didn't notice the lien up to early this year. Once I noticed that it was a code violation, and the code violation, it was the overground vacant lot outside storage. It seems like the neighborhoods that were using the property to store, to park in their trucks. And also there was a lot of trash and debris also from the neighbors that threw those trash in the lot. Once I noticed that, I contacted the city and I work with Mark. So I hired a contract to clean up the lot. They cleaned up the lot. So Mark went and reviewed. It was not exactly as clean as it should be. So I hired another person to go talk to Mark. He explained exactly what needs to be removed from the property, and then the contract removed. And also I I tried during 3 months to contact the owners of the trucks to remove from the property because they were parking there without authorization. Ultimately, I had to call to the sheriffs to give them a warning to remove the trucks, and then the trucks were removed. So we came out in compliance. I think it was 3 months ago.
And what is the relief you're looking for?
I paid already more than 4,000 to clean the property, so I'm more than happy to pay around $1,500 to $100,000. I think it's a fair amount, for the work that the city has done.
What say the city?
The city recommended we lower it to 5,000.
What did you propose?
1,500.
I'll reduce it to $1,500, subject to being paid within 30 days. If it's not paid within 30 days, it remains in effect as is.
Appreciate it.
Good luck to you.
Thank
And
you.
you'll get an invoice from the city, and if timing becomes an issue with regard to the payment, if you'll contact the city attorney, he'll work with you to the extent that he can.
Appreciate it.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, does that take care of all our live bodies here today, other than, of course, our staff, who I still consider live bodies? All right,
I will drop.
then I guess we
Last time.
have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, case number 2, Panora Properties LLC. Okay, noting the absence of a respondent, what say the city?
Inspector Itani, Code Compliance. Officer, conditions are on file. This case was opened on May 8th, 2024, bill generated for work without a permit for the roof, overgrown landscaping, outside storage, dirt and grime, boarded up windows, trash and debris, damaged fence, rotted wood, damaged porch, and damaged screens. First notice was received on May 25th, 2024. Compliance was due June 25th, 2024. As of October 4th, there has been minimal improvement. Last inspection was October 4th with the result of non-compliance. There has been contact with the owner. Staff recommends a finding of non-compliance with compliance by the January cutoff.
The January cutoff?
Yes, sir.
January 8, 2025?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the testimony of our inspector and the photographs presented, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 8, 2025, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I think that now takes us to case number 8, Ryan Ashley Mowry and Tony Guerra. And Mr. Stenson is our inspector. Noting the absence of the respondent, what say the city?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the City. Qualifications on file. This is a complaint-driven case for parking in front yard, unimproved surface, off-site advertising, non-conforming use of the property as a business location with equipment storage. Let's see. The property owner was first notified on 20 December 2023. This is actually a repeat violation from the code board. Actually from the code board for the parking and the advertising. Okay. His relief was he had to remove all the vehicles from all the locations that were advertising, which were at the location of 318 Flushing. It's also on the corner of Williams and North A1A, also at 515 North A1A and 2011 North A1A and Ocean Dews of South A1A. As of yesterday, the vehicles had been removed from the Williamson A1A location. However, they were still remained at the Ocean Dunes location. There was still one at the Flushing location. So we're asking for non-compliance, compliance by the next cutoff, and I believe that should be it.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 10, Theodore and Sherry Yeager. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
This case was field generated, opened on August 7th, 2024. It was overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. First notification was on August 15th of 2024. Compliance was due by August 25th. Last day of reinspection was October the 7th. Result, non-compliance. There's been contact with the owner. On staff request a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 12, ASP Ready Chem LLC. Is there anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
This case was field generated, opened on August the 22nd of 2024. Overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. First notification was on August 26th. Compliance was due by September the 4th. Last day of reinspection was October the 4th. Result, non-compliance. There's been no contact with the owner. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 13, Seaview Surf Club, LLC. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
This case was field generated and opened on August 20th, 2024. Overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. First notification was on August 20th when the property was posted. Compliance was due by September 3rd of 2024. Last day of reinspection was October the 7th. Result, non-compliance. There has been contact with the owner. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Did you say there has or has not been
There has been.
communication with the owner?
Yeah, he called me on October the 4th.
Okay.
And he's hired someone to get out there, but due to the bad weather, they haven't been able to get out there as of yesterday.
All right. Based upon the inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by November 6, 2024, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
Mr. Magistrate, can we take a 5-minute break?
Sure. We will go ahead and take a 5 or 10-minute break. Y'all let me know when you want to resume.
He's locked.
Stretch. Where was I at? That's what I thought. That poor guy was here and he was in compliance. I had a case, the guy was here and I was like, I thought he was in compliance. I made sure I didn't make a mistake. And I didn't. Yay. The case I was asking you about earlier, that CT or C29 or whatever, it was in compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burned them. I looked that up. I want to make sure I didn't make a mistake and didn't come on here.
Yeah,
that.
hurt. Okay,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
where
to put the
are
break.
we? Are we on case 15? Or did we
Yes.
just do
Yep.
15?
No, we're about to
We're
start.
on 15.
15, Larry and Shirley Johnson. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right, respondent was first notified on May 2nd of 2024. All right, since last month's hearing, they have cut and cleaned up the lot. So that part of it is in, there's a compliance photo in there. If Joe keeps going. Right there, they did clean up the lot. So they are on, and now as regards to the building, they have signed a contract with the building department to have the building demolished. So I would like to amend to the November cutoff to see if the building would be demolished by then.
Okay, noting the absence of the respondent based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until November 6, 2024 to come into compliance.
We already have a continued to the November 12th hearing.
Yeah, that's for the demo of the building.
Okay.
And that's what you just asked for, right?
Yeah, just a reminder.
Okay. All right.
We just got that. We didn't have that last one.
Okay.
Will be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per occurrence.
Gotcha.
Are we right?
Yes.
Okay.
What you need, Kevin?
This is. I think I need my right calendar.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's out of work. Okay. So November 6th. We're amending to the November 6th.
Amending the pending order to November 6, 2024
All
to
right.
come into compliance. Okay?
Yep.
Case number 16, Amani Group LLC, not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
Respondent was first notified on July 26th of 2024. Since last month's hearing, there's been no contact or progress. Staff requests a fine of $250 a day with a max fine of $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent based upon the testimony of the inspector as well as the photographs presented, I am fining the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing October 3, 2024, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 17, Lance Stromberg and Eddie Court Residences, LLC. Not seeing a respondent?
Okay.
What say the city?
First notification was 5/31/24. Since the last hearing, I have had contact. The permit has been issued. That's all that's left. Permit was issued 9/30. We'd like to ask to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until November 6, 2024 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
Thank you.
Case number 18, Virgil and Ellen Rosenfeld Family Trust dated June 22, 2005. Ellen Rosenfeld as trustee. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
This respondent was first notified on 7 December 2023. There's been no contact with this owner since the last hearing. Property is occupied. There's ongoing slow progress. The permit was issued on May 20th, 2024. Staff recommends a fine $200 per day to be capped at $15.
Noting the absence of the respondent based upon our inspector's testimony, I am fining the respondent the sum of $200 per day commencing October 3, 2024, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 or the property is in compliance. Case number 19, Scott Ibsen.
We already heard him.
We already heard him. I think that brings us to case 24, GEA Seaside Investments Incorporated. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right. Respondent was first notified of violation April 10th, 2024. Since last hearing, no progress was made. I've had no contact with owner. Last inspection was October the 4th, 2024. The result of the inspection was non-compliance, so staff recommend a fine of $100 a day to a cap of $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I am fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing October 3, 2024, and the fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 or the property is in compliance. Case number 25, GEA Seaside Investments Incorporated. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right. Respondent was first notified of violation February the 13th, 2024. Since the last hearing, no progress was made. I've had no contact with owner. Last inspection was October the 4th, 2024. The result of the reinspection was non-compliance. Staff recommend a fine of $100 per day to a cap of $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing October 3, 2024, and the fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 or the property is in compliance. Case number 26, GEA Seaside Investments Incorporated. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Respondent was first notified of violation April 29th, 2024. Since the last hearing, no progress was made. I have had no contact with owner. The last inspection was October the 4th, 2024. The result of the reinspection was non-compliance, so staff recommend a fine of $100 per day to a cap of $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I am fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing October 3, 2024, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 or the property is brought into compliance. Case number 29, RE Equity Investment Group LLC and JJ Equity LLC. Not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
This is here for a progress report. This respondent was first notified on July 7th of 2023. Since last hearing, there's been a considerable amount of work. There's a picture of the last hearing where what the building looked like. And they've now completed the stucco. All the windows are installed. They're working on getting the air conditioning installed. Staff is here for the progress report. Compliance had been set for November 6th of 2024. Staff would request that we amend the cutoff to January 8th, 2025 for compliance.
All right, based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I'm amending our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 32, Beach Development Group LLC. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Respondent was first notified on April 11th, 2024. Since last hearing, there's been contact with the property owner and also the roofing contractor. They were waiting on materials. Staff recommends amending compliance to the next cutoff.
Based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented,
What you can see is the roof on the far right-hand side is what they have left to do in the violation. The roofer was awaiting some material. I don't know, it may impact them with the weather we're having, where we may have even a little more roof damage, but
all right, in any event, I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until, did you say the next cutoff?
yes.
November 6, 2024 to come into compliance, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 35, D&J Global Holdings, LLC. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Staff is requesting to vacate the order of noncompliance and dismiss this case.
All right, as per the staff's request, and noting the absence of the respondent, I'm going to order that our order of noncompliance dated September 18, 2024, and our corrected order of noncompliance dated October 7, 2024 be vacated, and this case is dismissed. That brings us to lien review 4 and 5, which Tony started to tell me something about earlier, and then we...
Yes, I have been in communication with the attorney. This is the one where we did partial releases at the last meeting related to some cross encumbrances, and we said we'd come back and address the remaining portions of their request for lien review. We're asking for that to be moved to the next meeting date.
Okay. Is that 4 and 5?
That's for 4 and 5, yes.
Okay. All right, with regard to lien review 4 and with regard to lien review 5, we will continue the determination of whatever issues remain in those 2 lien review requests to our November 12, 2024 meeting.
That's it.
Okay, unless I've missed something, that takes care of our regular agenda. Do we have any miscellaneous business to be brought to the special magistrate's attention? Sounds like we're all good. Okay, we are not having a December meeting, is that what I hear?
Correct.
Okay. So we will have our meeting in November, and then we skip to January. Very good. Okay.
Next best thing to a Christmas party. It's the next best thing.
All right, I don't have anything to slam, so consider it something. There you go.